Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Evans, and I am an instructional supervisor at the Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School. This slidecast was designed for my master's program at Franciscan University, and this is my field-based activity number 4 slidecast. This slidecast was designed for Proposition 3, teachers responsible for managing and monitoring student learning. The trend within this proposition is the percentage of American children living in families with income below the poverty line has increased continuously. Nearly 1 in 5 children are poor today. This specific activity will explain Maslow's hierarchy of needs and identify how his concept impacts students' ability to learn, as well as support the need for teachers to pay particular attention to these factors. Let's first take a look at what is exactly meant by Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This concept refers to the basic needs required for someone to obtain before they reach their full potential. As seen in the graphic, the first level encompasses the physiological needs, or things needed to ensure survival. Things like food, water, shelter, breathing, reproduction, and sleep are among the characteristics of this level. The next level is safety, which involves the need to develop security of the body, family, and health. The next level is love and belonging, which includes the needs such as friends, family, and intimacy. The fourth level is esteem, which includes acquiring self-esteem, confidence, achievement, and respect for others and of others. The final stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-actualization. Things like morality, creativity, problem-solving, and lack of prejudice are associated with this level. Some say it is impossible for someone to fully reach the top of Maslow's hierarchy. But when it comes down to it, one must fully achieve a level before passing on to the next. Now let's see what some of the literature has to say about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how it relates to children's ability to learn, especially those below the poverty line. An article was written by Zacharias and Bain in 2008, which discusses how closing achievement gaps requires paying attention to issues of race and poverty. The article describes that the U.S. education system continues to struggle with low achievement and high dropout rates within poor minority students in society. The authors believe that the United States has failed these students when it comes to providing them with a quality education. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is used to help visualize the problem within society. The students and their families living below the poverty line are faced with certain issues that higher income families don't need to worry about. Things such as food, clean water, and safe living areas are not easily available for students living below the poverty line. Students from these poor areas spend their time and energy seeking out these various things they need for survival instead of worrying about an education. The authors list several things that need to be done to help these students. Things such as rethinking the problem, more affordable housing in stable neighborhoods, living wages, healthcare benefits, early education programs, and improved instruction. The authors include by describing how teachers need to be more aware that closing achievement gaps will only be possible if they take poverty and race into consideration. They need to be aware that students living below the poverty line face a whole other set of obstacles that students from more affluent backgrounds do not need to face. Another article was written by Schilling in 1983. This study was conducted to analyze Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how it relates to young children in education. They took a look at the motivational needs, worries, and fears of low socioeconomic students and gathered data by letting children make some of the decisions within the classroom. Kindergarten, second grade, and fourth grade students were studied with information being gathered by a concealed tape recorder. The study showed that physiological needs decrease with age. On the other side, things like safety, self-actualization, and esteem increases with age. Fear was the only aspect that remained constant across ages, ability levels, and poverty levels. This goes to show that teachers and schools need to do what they can to ensure physiological needs are met for all students, especially the younger ones, and that younger students will suffer the most academically if the basic needs for survival are not met, and that older students will learn most effectively if they possess a strong family background, high self-esteem, and meaningful relationships. Students struggling to reach the upper levels in Maslow's hierarchy will have trouble developing the ability to think at higher levels and outside of the box. After reviewing these articles with my field-based instructor, Natasha Lee, we were able to discuss some of her insights she had on this topic. The first thing she discussed is the importance for things such as snack time, nap time, and water breaks within early elementary classrooms. This provides students with an opportunity to gain some of those basic physiological needs that low socioeconomic students may not get at home. She said this also stresses the importance of schools to sponsor these snack and drink breaks. Another insight she provided was that just how important it is for a teacher to actually get to know their students. If a teacher knows that one student does not have many friends or has low self-esteem or comes from a broken family, it only makes the teacher's job more important when it comes to ensuring that the child's needs are being met and provide that stability. This emphasizes the teacher's role in helping a student reach self-actualization and higher levels in the pyramid. One last insight we discussed was actually very interesting. We talked about how alternative modes of education are providing students with a chance to have a higher quality education. However, schools like PA Cyber, which usually involve the student working from home, may not be the best option. Even though we can provide them with tools and resources poor public schools may not, their life at home may be the fundamental issue with their lack of success. Their homes may prove to be an unsafe living condition, lack access to clean water, and be dangerous neighborhoods, and restrict them from developing relationships with others. This will only add to the difficulty for students to move up the pyramid on Maslow's hierarchy of needs and acquire a quality education. Let's now take a look at 3 goals I have made for myself regarding this topic. My first goal is to take the time to get to know my students individually and get a sense of the type of background they come from at home. This will provide me with a better idea of what type of needs they will need in order to become successful. Another goal I have is to challenge students to help them acquire problem-solving skills. Students will be able to retain basic knowledge, but to help them reach their full potential and gain 21st century skills, they will need to be able to problem solve and think critically about information. One last goal is to not underestimate the learning ability of a child. I need to keep in mind that some students may struggle with learning because they are struggling with a whole other set of issues at home. I need to be patient and really take an initiative to help those less advantaged students. Well, this concludes today's slidecast. I hope you enjoyed it and you can use it to better your own instruction. Like always, a special thanks to Natasha Lee. I am Dan Evans. Have a good night.